Saquon. I see that one's hilarious. I've seen
Saquon? Welcome into Scoop City. I'm the Athletic senior NFL insider Dianna Russini.
And I'm Chase Daniel, played 14 years in the National Football League, and now I'm a podcaster.
We got a big show for episode 3 of Scoop City. We've got Eagles running back Saquon Barkley joining the show. We've been watching Hard Knocks.
Let's go.
Right? So we've been seeing the Giants over the last few weeks during their offseason making that decision, what they wanted to do with their most popular Giant, that being Saquon Barkley. Did they want to maybe give him a new deal or not? And the cameras have shown us it's been very clear. The Giants, they were ready to move on from Saquon. So we haven't heard Saquon's side. So over the weekend, I spent some time with him down in Pennsylvania in his beautiful home, in his gorgeous living room.
I'm jealous I missed out.
I know.
I'm jealous.
We missed you.
There was a Microsoft outage if you were sleeping under a rock that caused me not to get a flight. So I was going to fly, even though it was 2,500 miles away and I'm in San Diego and you're in Pennsylvania. It was going to happen, but you crushed it. I can't wait for people to hear it.
Yes, I offered to pick you up, but you didn't want to spend that much time in the car with me.
In your private jet that you have? Come on.
Please, try my little RV. Jordan Love still doesn't have a deal. What is going on there? And we'll wrap up the show talking about how lately our weekends are spent at birthday parties, what that means for our lives. Let's get to it. Here's what I'm hearing around the league. So we found out on Monday that Packers quarterback Jordan Love's contract still not done. So he's doing this hold-in thing, right? This is kind of new, right? Where you're still there. You go to meetings, you hang out with the team, but you don't practice until the deal is official. Now, I can tell you, all signs are pointing to it getting done at this point, but Jordan Love is making a decision not to go out there. Do you agree with it?
I don't blame him. He's making $10.5 million this year. That's like as much as Sam Darnold or as much as Tyrod Taylor, I think, is making $9 million. Like, what are we even doing here? And by the way, all these hold-ins, it changed with the new CBA because holdouts, you're fined. So now they're going to be there. They're going to be a part of meetings, so they're not getting fined. No one wants it's an absurd amount of money if you miss training camp day. But take me through. What are you hearing about Jordan Love? Is it going to get done? Where are we at with this deal? What the heck is happening? He's missing practice, Dianna. It's not good.
Yeah, I believe Jordan Love is going to be the highest paid quarterback in football when this does wrap up.
Well, really?
Yes.
The highest paid.
I do believe that he's going to beat out both Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, right? So you figure they are the highest paid quarterbacks right now, making around $55 million a year. It's all about guaranteed money, right? That is always going to be the topic of conversations when doing these deals in terms of the importance. And so from what I was told, they are still trying to knock out the final language of this contract, but both sides have been very consistent that they feel good about it and it should be done not later, but sooner. And I would expect this to get wrapped up this week.
But why isn't it done yet? Because, if I'm the agent, whoever reps them, I just know based on certain guys I've been with in teams, their agent, when they've been doing massive, highest paid player in NFL history type deals, they've been on the ground rolling. Is it years? Is it guaranteed money? Like what? I mean, he's in meetings, but he's not working out. So it's Sean Clifford or Pratt from Tulane taking the starting reps with a really young team. Not a good look for the Green Bay Packers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you know you're going to pay them, just get it done.
I think sometimes you don't realize on the outside how this works, right? So proposals are sent back and forth, and they don't work at the speed that perhaps most of us are working over our phones, where you're just like texting back and forth answers to quick problems. They've got to red line items in the deal. They've got to send it to this person and that person. Because I've asked general managers around the league how the process works when you're dealing with a gigantic quarterback deal. And everyone says the same thing. It's like, it's the slowest thing. It does not matter how good of an agent you have. It doesn't matter how good a GM is or even a team president. It just takes time. And some of it's that. and some of it's language within the structure of the contract. So from what I was told, this is more just about the structure of the deal, not so much the number that we're discussing now, which I think it's pretty safe to say that they're going to pay him what the market dictates, which we know right now is above $55 million. Do you think he's worth that much?
Well, you have Joe Burrow at $55 million. You have Trevor Lawrence at $55 million. The next third is Jared Goff at $53, and then Herbert's at $52.5 million. And I think the reason it was sort of lagging is I would just imagine that the Packers didn't offer him what he thought he was worth. And it has to at least be $55 million for me. It has to at least start at that number. Now, a lot of it is structure. What structure of a contract? Well, you have a guaranteed money. That's what everyone and their mom looks at. Like, hey, it could be a 5-year deal, but it worth $55 million a year, but you only get $110 million guaranteed. That's only a 2-year deal. Like, don't let the agents pump it up. Like, don't all that stuff. People got to understand. Most of these extensions are like 2-year deals when you really just dive into the nuts and bolts of a contract. And so with Jordan, I'm guessing he wants more guaranteed money, so he might take a little less APY. I can't imagine in any world he's not at least $55 million. And when you go back and you turn on the film, the first 6 games, he was just okay. He was middle of the pack. Like, you would have told me after the first 6 games of watching film, breaking him down, and where the Packers were at, with him and LaFleur too, where they were still figuring it out. They had a really young team. I said, there's no way he's making that type of money because he made $13.5 million this past year. So he did a really team-friendly type deal. What's more impressive to me, Dianna, and you could probably speak to this because you covered him for a while, the Packers hit on Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, and now Jordan Love. There's so many franchises out there, the Cleveland Browns, that have went through so many different starting quarterbacks in that range, and the Packers have had 2 for 25 years. Jordan's going to be the guy there for at least the next 10, 12, 15 years. That type of run, like, I just want to give love in this segment to Green Bay's front office because they know something we don't know. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers sat for a few years. Jordan Love sat for a few years. Like, all these guys sat. It was something to be said. These weren't like high top 2, top 3 picks in the first round. They knew what they wanted, but that's the conversation for me is how in the world does Green Bay hit on these guys?
Yeah, well, because we know so much of this is luck. You know, when you look at the Jordan Love situation when it happened with Aaron Rodgers there, do you remember how much you were playing then, right?
Yeah, still playing.
It was a big deal that the Green Bay Packers drafted a quarterback in the first round with Aaron Rodgers there. Yeah. That it was like, what are they doing? How disrespectful. And you see now, and look, it was 1 year. Think about it, right? Like, we're basing all of our opinions and thought, and the Green Bay Packers are investing in a quarterback that they saw for 1 year. That to me is still pretty risky, but they obviously know they've seen enough. And as you know, they've seen enough behind the scenes. They've seen enough during practice to know he's the guy.
And I worked out with him. And I saw behind the scenes too. It's like,
tell me about that.
Yeah, it was, he came here, his I guess girlfriend at the time when I worked out with him, newly minted fiance, is a professional volleyball player. Jordan Love's fiance is a professional volleyball player. She's amazing. In San Diego. So he was here all of offseason. So he reached out to Todd Durkin, who trained Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson. And I got to train there really my whole career here in San Diego. I was like, I need a place to train. I'm here supporting my girlfriend. I was like, stand-up guy right there, like coming out here in San Diego. I mean, San Diego doesn't suck, let's be honest. The weather's amazing. But I was able to go in and just pick his brain. And first of all, just from the second you meet him, he is a guy that you just know means business, but is also just one of the good guys, if you know what I mean. You've covered enough guys in the league to understand, like, hey, this guy is just a good old-fashioned good dude. And when he's working out, the few times I was able to work out with him, you could just see the fire and the passion and the want to on, like, unfinished business type stuff. And it was just every single rep was really detailed. He went above and beyond to stay after and do extra reps. We played basketball together, hit a fadeaway on them to win the game. Like, it was a pickup game, and I'm not very athletic at basketball, so don't worry, Packers fans. It was not anything crazy. But you could just tell, and the type of questions he asked Breeze and Todd Durkin, the trainer, and he loved it. He's going to be coming out here again, so I'll get a chance to be out there. But he deserves all of it, Dianna. Like, he really, truly does. But let's quickly touch on Tua, because Tua is really interesting to me. What's going on with that contract? I haven't heard a peep about it.
Well, you haven't heard a peep because it isn't close to the finish line the way it feels for Jordan Love. I feel like the Jordan Love story can break any minute. In fact, my phone's out in case it happens.
Can we please get breaking news on Scoop City, please?
I wish I could just make it happen. It doesn't work like that. So with Tua, I don't want to say they're really far apart, but they're definitely not as close as I'm seeing with Jordan
What
Love's
number
camp
are you hearing?
and
Is
the
it
Green Bay
something
Packers.
in the 50s? Do they?
So-
I'm guessing that's what Tua wants.
Tua wants the number to be 5 there. I know that the Dolphins have discussed that. They have discussed that as a possibility. How high does the number after the 5 go? I'm not certain where Miami's willing to go there. We know they want them.
I bet he
we know
wants
they
above
want him.
Justin Herbert, because that draft class, right? Like, think about
Would
that.
make sense. Would make a lot of sense, right? So
Sorry to interrupt you. I just thought about that. Continue. I'm sorry. I was just
the Dolphins haven't just expressed that they want to get this done. We've obviously seen their head coach speak the world of Tua. Look, training camp's here, and most people get this. You get this, but this is just such a unique time for teams to implement so much of what they're going to be doing, because they're not going to get this kind of time once we get into the season. So they're going to want Tua out there happy, ready to go. They're not going to want the situation that they're seeing here with Jordan Love, where it's right now just a hold in, and we'll see if Tua decides to do that and takes a page from Jordan here and says, you know what, I'm not stepping on the field till I get this done. All signs have pointed that he wants to be there, that he wants to practice, but he may be advised not to do that.
Okay, so take me inside, because this is a bigger picture question, especially with the salary cap being $255.4 million. You've seen all these quarterback deals get done in this last year. How does that play into Chris Grier in the front office of the Dolphins or the front office of the Packers? I mean, they're having a lot more money to work with. You saw the Packers just got extended Kenny Clark. He's going to go down as like one of the richest D linemen in history if he plays out this deal. Like, it just seems like there's money flying all the way. Take us into the dynamic of a GM doing these quarterback deals, because the cap, it rose like 18%. Oh,
Yeah,
no, it rose $30 million this year. $30 million.
Yeah, each team got $30 million more to spend, right? So that was a gift. We saw on Hard Knocks when Joe Shane found out about it, he was like, woo! Like
Yeah.
That was just such a real great, true reaction to the way it was around the league, because at that time, there were a couple leaks that it was going to be like 20 or 25.
Yeah.
So to hear that each team was going to get around 30 million was a really big deal. But we had Stephen Jones on the other day, and when we were going through the contract situation that they're dealing with CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and Dak Prescott, he alluded to the fact that now that they've got more wiggle room with more money, they're going to be able to figure out ways to get those deals done. They're optimistic they'll be able to work business out. So look, the numbers are just going up across the league. Tua's numbers will just go up eventually if they don't get this done now. They know that. They know it's coming. And that's why you're seeing the Green Bay Packers try to get a move on this now, right? You do this deal to extend him. And look, Tua's got to get done. Everyone wants the same thing. It's just, are they going to be able to agree on the guaranteed money? Back to that again.
Yeah.
You point that out perfectly, that the structure, it's
Yeah.
always about the structure here at this point in order to make these guys happy and get what they want and get what the market dictates at this point.
Just for reference to our viewers who are new here at Scoop City, like, of course, we're going to keep it light and fun, but I also want to take you inside the inner workings of the NFL. And by these contracts, you're talking structure, you're talking guarantee. What I didn't really mention, and I wanted to throw this out there, is that the new CBA is done in 2030. So 6 years from now, okay? And some of these TV rights are up even before 2030. So if you're an agent out there for Jordan Love or Tua or some other guys that have agent deals coming, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some 4 to 5 year deals, right, to come up when the new TV money kicks back in to the new CBA, because that is going to be them hitting the market again. And then you saw with this new CBA, prices skyrocketed. Yeah, NFL rights deals skyrocketed. It could be double that when you get to 2030. So I just want to point that out to listeners and viewers, because that's a big deal in these negotiations too. The closer you get to a new CBA, that's something you want to have in your back pocket if you're an agent negotiating a massive quarterback deal.
So the parting of ways between Saquon Barkley and the New York Giants has taken center stage since Hard Knocks has given us this incredible look inside the decision makers' offices of the New York Giants, as we've seen them on camera make a decision that they are going to move on from Saquon Barkley. General Manager Joe Schoen looks to try to keep Saquon Barkley because he knows ownership wants him. But in the end, Saquon Barkley leaves the New York Giants and becomes a Philadelphia Eagle, signing a 3-year contract worth $37.8 million. So we've seen the New York Giants side to this. I drove down to Pennsylvania to hang out with Saquon to just get his version of the tale. All right, welcome to Scoop City. Saquon Barkley, the Philadelphia Eagle running back. I'm not used to that yet. I'm still like, are you used to this?
I guess I'm starting to get used to it. I've only ever put the jersey on twice. I did for like a commercial the other day, and for the you know how we do like team media. So it's still a little different, but excited, super excited, and happy to be an Eagle and happy to be in the city of Philadelphia.
With Hard Knocks right now, all eyes are on the situation that you went through. So the world is seeing your life unfold. What has it been like for you watching this?
It's been, I only watched one episode so far. I've seen clips. Shout out to social media. They do a really good job. Only seen one episode. I've seen the last episode. I had to watch that one because, you know, like the trailer that came out for this one, like my Twitter were blowing up and it was like, you lied, like we offered you. I guess like the trailer showed Joe like saying the numbers, but I think he said if. So I was just like, I had to like make sure that like I wasn't gonna look like a liar, especially that I went on social media and came out and said that they never offered me. But the episode that I did watch, I think it was cool, it was unique. Obviously I lived it, but I never got to live it in like through, you know, those lenses. I never got to see it through those lenses. So I think Hard Knocks did a really good job of showing what the offseason like and showing, you know, free agency. So shout out to Hard Knocks. But it's different. It's like I said, I lived it, but I never got to see it this way. Was shocked. I remember like when the Hard Knocks first came out, the trailer, and announced that the Giants were doing it. I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. But then I was just like, I called my agent. I was like, are we gonna be in this? And then we reached out to Hard Knocks and come to find out, like at the time when they were filming, like I had no idea, but I got to see a couple of stuff previous before it came out.
What is it like seeing the New York Giants front office, Joe Schoen, Brian Dable, the owner, talking about you?
Like I said, I think Hard Knocks did a really good job. It was cool to see it. You know, I feel like I was a real focal point in, you know, the Hard Knocks, especially episode 3, but even like the clips, you know, like in real life to me, like there wasn't a lot of conversations with the Giants this offseason. We talked once after the season, and then the phone call that everyone see that like with me and Joe. That was really like the only 2 conversations I had with them, and then afterwards having conversations when I signed to Philly. So it's like it seems like I'm like super involved in this, but like in reality, like I really like to me it was like I was so focused on all the other stuff that was going on because they really weren't in play. I guess you could say, come to find out, see the reality of it. But yeah, so it was different to see it from that way, because like in real time in my life, it was like it wasn't, you know, it was really like the 3 teams that I had to focus on, and end up picking the Eagles. And to see like when you look at Hard Knocks, it's like you make it seem like, oh, like this was like a thing that was going on every single day, but it really wasn't.
Yeah. So you talked to the Giants at the end of the season, and you didn't really have a lot of communication between then and then the phone call when Joe answers to check in with you to basically say, like, hey, go out, go see what you got out there.
Yeah.
What did that feel like when he told you that?
Yeah, I guess a lot of people didn't like how I was on the phone, how I reacted on the phone.
What, like your tone?
Yeah, I guess my tone. But like, if anybody who knows me, like I answer the phone. That's kind of how I talk. Yeah, I mean, at the time, how did I feel about that? At the time, it was like, all right. I was a little fed up, a little bit, to be honest, because we talked after the season. Like, they were like, "Do you still want to be a Giant?" I was like, "I already said where I want to be." Like I said on the phone. All right, and they said, "All right, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna make it work. We'll talk to your agent." Then they said at the combine, they talked to my agent. They said that we're gonna have a deal. We'll have something ready for you. Then come to find out, they didn't want to send me an offer because they didn't want to be disrespectful or whatever. What Joe said on that episode or that scene. And then the phone call when, it was kind of weird for me, like to be like, it felt like the only way like the Giants wanted me if I was able to go show my worth to someone. Like I was able to go prove that like a team would want to pay me. So like then maybe they would want to pay me.
That wasn't like what it was. That's what it was. That was the reality. They were basically challenging you to say, hey, this is how we value you. This is what we think of you. Go ahead, go see what's out there, and you'll go find out that you're not worth you think you're worth.
Yeah, that's I think you said it perfectly. I didn't necessarily like in that moment when they were like give him an offer, like give him a chance to match it. Like that's why I was just like, you already know where I want to be. Like I said that, and like I feel like I kind of like didn't want to continue to come off like I'm begging. Like I already said multiple times like where I want to be, that I want to be a Giant for life. But at that point, like I kind of knew it probably wasn't going to happen because I was concerned too, knowing where the market. I just got tagged the year before. Obviously, I wasn't getting tagged. Everyone's saying this and that about the running back market. No one truly really knew where it was going to be. But thankful for my agent, Ed, and my team, keeping me cool, calm, collected, saying, don't worry, like we're going to make this work, we're going to get it right. And then come to find out when I hit the open market, what I thought would happen, or I believed in myself what would happen, actually happened. I had a lot of teams that were about it, were really sending, true offers and, wanted me to come and play for the team. So then that felt good because it was like, all right, like I felt like the Giants thought I was going to go out there and get 9, maybe 8, stretch at 10, and then I'll come back to them and it's like, all right, well, we got you. If you want to come play at 9, you come play at 9, which I think that truly would have got it done. I think that's just where they valued me at, or Joe valued me at. That's what he had a price point where he was willing to pay, and he wasn't going to go over to it. And kudos to him for sticking to his gut. But yeah, that's how I feel, and I kind of felt like it was like, kind of a little disrespectful, to be honest, because it's kind of like a slap in the face. But you go see what you are worth, and then if you're worth that, we'll see if you're worth it, and maybe we'll match it. So it's like.
Whereas you would have liked the Giants to say, hey, we value you. Look what you've done for our offense. Look what kind of locker room guy you are. Look what you do for the brand of the New York Giants, right? If you are in the New York, New Jersey area, your jersey's everywhere. It's Barkley, right? There's very few other big selling jerseys. New York Giants are Saquon Barkley at this point. And for them to say to you that you have to go figure out what your value is or go test it because we don't want to overpay you. Did you feel that it was a very one-sided relationship at that moment?
Yes and no. Definitely one-sided, but I would say no because at the same time, like you got to be mature about the situation and you got to understand the business side of it. And for 2 years, that's all I've been asking for.
Yeah, because I think that's what's interesting about this is, all right, the cameras are on this season, this offseason, but really the issues began the year before. This has been a 2-year process. How different was the year before the year they tagged you? What was that like for you?
I think it would have been a little more juicier. I wish they had Hard Knocks that year.
Why?
Because I feel like it was more like, it actually was real. Like I said, like and this Hard Knocks, like my name, like the episode that I saw, it's Barkley, 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 Barkley. Like you would think, like in the media, it was talked about a lot, but like in reality, like the Giants and us, we really didn't have that.
There wasn't that much
Yeah, it wasn't
going
really.
on.
Yeah, it wasn't really that much. Like when I sat down with my family, and we were making the decision to see where we are going to go and pick out of the three teams where we had our final three. Like the Giants weren't one of those three because, like I said before,
The New York Giants were never on the table for you to sign with the team.
So like it's like I said, Hard Knocks did a really good job, and like it looks juicy. It looks like we was like, oh, like okay, like there's actually could have been a thing, and like they pulled out the last second. Like in reality, like it never really wasn't. Like the whole time, like me and my agent talking on our side is like, yeah, we don't think the Giants are even gonna do anything. So like when I'm sitting down with my family making a decision, it was more for of like, all right, what's these three teams, and let's see what the reason why we should go here and why we shouldn't. And obviously, thankfully, it ended up being Philly. But yeah, I think before it would have been better because like last year there was more action, there was more, more juice.
Because you were you more emotional then? Were you more disappointed in the process because the Giants had to make a decision? They're getting deals done with a lot of key players on your team. They signed Daniel Jones. They potentially use the tag. They're going to use the tag on you.
Yeah.
What was it about the situation that was frustrating for you 2 years ago?
Not that they paid Daniel. It wasn't that they paid Daniel. They paid Daniel. They paid AT. They paid Dex. They got everybody done that felt like, was a key part of why they made it to the playoffs and why we were a successful team that year. With me, they could sit there and Joe, he made a comment, said that it took 10 years off his life. Like, if it took 10 years off your life, what do you think it did for me? Yeah. But, like, they made offers to me, but it was, like, my offer, I never really got a true negotiation because, like, Daniel got the deal done before the tag deadline. Literally, he got it done
it was almost on the minute.
Yeah, and then I got tagged right after. Dex and Andrew got their stuff done, but, like, it was different. Like, they didn't have, like, to worry about, like, they can go in there and negotiate. So, like, for us, like, I never feel like we really got a fair negotiation once I got tagged. Like, they send me something before the tag deadline and didn't agree with it. Felt like the guaranteed money wasn't there. All I asked was, like, I'm fine with this contract. Can we just guarantee the first 2 years? They tagged me, and I was like, I already know how this is going to go. They said, listen, sit down. Joe was like, I'll talk to the ownership, this and that third, we'll get back to you. And then crickets. It was like, all right. And then after that, like, it kind of was like, I didn't like because I get the business, but it's like they have the tag, right? So when they tag me now, they have all the leverage. And it's just like, all right, I get you have all the leverage and you should do this, like you're doing your job. But at the end of the day, like, can I get some respect too? Like, just, can we get this thing going? Like, can we find a way, like the same way how you found a way to get DJ done, how you get Dex done, and Andrew done, could we have found a way to get me done? But that's in the past. I don't really care about that because ultimately, like, I got tagged, played for the 10 mil, and then I end up getting more money. Like, I end up, like, that's why like, at the time, it seemed like it was a disaster, and I'm like, oh man, like, I gotta do this. But in reality, like, I bet on myself, and I came out on top in that scenario.
How do you look back at your time with Joe Schoen as the general manager in terms of his decision making and how he handled business with you?
Yeah, I think it depends how you want to look at it, and I choose to take like I said, I get it. It's a mature route. I get the business. I don't truly.
Do you wish they just were more open with you about how they were going to do this?
No, because like I said, like, this season, it makes it look like it's so much more involved than it actually was. It really wasn't.
It was a quick breakup.
Yeah, it really wasn't like that at all. But like, even before, like, obviously Ed's my agent now, but when Ken was my agent, like, we never got the sense that he truly valued my position, and that's okay. Like, I'm fine with that because I don't believe, like I said, you could take it. It depends how you look at it. Like, if I take it more of like the business side, like the New York Football Giants, and actually how you see it, like how they did like the Texas Hold'em, which, like I said, I think Hard Knocks did a really good job. And you stir up the pot, and you see that they got to get the offensive lineman and this, and it's like, all right, looking at the New York Giants, like, is it more important to go out there and get 3 offensive linemen, or spend that money, or get 1 or maybe 2 and just try to spend it on Saquon? It's what you want, what you value at your team. Like, I don't think the New York Giants are San Fran, Philly, Houston, or some of these teams where they might be a running back away, or they might be one key player away from making it to the next step. And if that's what they believed in and they chose to do that, then I'm fine with that. And all I asked was for me to get my opportunity to go able and get the most money that I'm able to, like, go get the most money that I can possibly get. And they gave me that. So, like, people could see it, like, was I salty about it, this and that, third? Like, when they told me that they weren't going to tag me, I was like, you know what, that's the only thing I asked. Because last year when they tagged me, I knew exactly how it was going to play out. The conversations, the tone in the conversation changed. Like, they had me. Because it really was like, we can offer you whatever you want, and either you take it or you go play on this one-year deal. Or don't show up and just miss out on $10 million. And, like, no one's going to, in the right mind, is going to just not show up and take the money.
So when you go out and you get those offers and you go back to New York and you guys let them know, like, this is what we have on the table, and they say, we're out, we're done. And the reality set in that you're not going to be a New York Giant, the team that drafted you. You've said over and over in almost every media availability that you had that you want to be a New York Giant forever. What did it feel for you personally, knowing that your days in New York were really over?
Yeah, like, it's not, it was over after that phone call, in my opinion. So, like,
As soon as he said to go hit the market,
and if you match it,
That-
go come back. Like, it was over after that, because I never, in my heart, truly believed that they were going to match it, or they only wanted me for a lower price. So, like, no matter what, I probably wasn't going to go back. Like, I know my agent went back and talked to him, and, like, we gave him the opportunity, like, all right, what we match. But, like, the whole time, like, I was already removed myself from that. Like, I had that conversation, I was like, damn, like, it's gonna suck. Like, it hurt. Like, it was like I wanted to do this, and, like, that's why it hurts, because, like, I'm the type of player, or type of person, like, I envision things, like, I wanted to be a part of New York and the success and be a part of that organization. And I'm happy that I was. So, like, it was like, damn, okay, it's coming to an end. But at the end of the day, it was like, I'm not retiring. Like, my career wasn't over. Like, I still have a lot ball left. So it was like, all right, you put that chapter aside and you think for that chapter, and then you move on. But, like I said, the Hard Knocks makes it look like it was more interesting than it actually was.
Yeah.
But, like, it was, like, my agent went back. But, like, I don't even know if my agent, he probably came back and told me that they're out. But, like, it was so, like,
it's so assumed.
it was so assumed at that point. So it was
the
like,
door was closed.
Yeah, the door was closed. So it was like, okay. Like, to be honest, what I really was concerned about was, like, all right, if I go out there and I do get these deals, and then they actually come back and match it. Because then now,
because that was like, oh, now I got to go back.
I already removed myself from that situation. That
Yeah.
actually, my agent played a prank on me. He played a prank on me. He was like, basically the number I had, he was like, they matched it. They even went better. And, like, I dropped the phone, and I was like,
oh my gosh.
I was like, oh my God. And, like, he was just, like, laughing. It was like a joke, because he was like, no, like, they're out. Like, that was, like, the actual time when they said they're out. They were like, no, like, boom, 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 boom. And we just started focusing on the new.
All right, so then they test you in a way, and they push you out to go see what's out there. And then you have offers from 3 different teams that are showing strong interest, that are paying you way above what they thought you were worth. What was that like to see in real life that, oh my gosh, I am worth this?
It felt great. To be honest, helped rejuvenate my career. Like,
You feel like it's rejuvenated you?
Yeah, like, because at a point you're like, damn, like, all right, like, I know what this team thinks about me, but, like, I only know this side, right? I only, like, get to know this side. So it's like you hear, and, like, coaches come up to you after games and this and that and third, and, oh, how much of a good player you are and this and that. But it's like, all right, like, it sounds good, but, like, when you get to see it, it was like, so then when I got to see the teams, and then Philly being one, it was like, I was like, whoa, okay, like, Philly's in play, like, this is an actual thing. And I'm not gonna speak on the other teams, like, which I'm thankful for, for them too. But so, like, when it was Philly, I was like, all right, and then you go out there.
You say Philly, but this isn't Chicago. This isn't Houston. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that is the Giants' nemesis. You grew up, you're from the Bronx, you grew up in Pennsylvania, you went to Penn State. You know what this means. You know how Eagles fans are, you know how Giants fans are, and you obviously played against them all the time. You know what this is about. Did you have any hesitation about going, I don't know, maybe this isn't right?
No. And
Why?
I think I downplayed the situation. I think I did. I know I did. And my manager, both my whole management team, they were there. We're just like, this is going to stir some shit. And I was just like, bro, it's not that deep. Like, it's not that serious. Because, like, in my mind, you gotta understand.
You're just going with the team that makes the most sense in terms of roster, makes the most sense in terms of money. You're not really thinking about the fan wars and the things that I'm talking about with you, that we know. Like, you are down the street from the New York Giants right now.
No.
And
like, it wasn't like, it was like, did I know it would be like, okay, like, all right, I didn't think it was like the magnitude that it had, like, on my social media. Like, I kind of downplayed that, and like I said, my manager, cuz, like, he was like, you're insane. Like, this is gonna be a big deal. And cuz, like, for me, I'm looking at it from a sane view, right? It's just like, if anybody, right, and has a job, and you work at Applebee's, and you worked at Applebee's for a certain time, and you're like trying to get a new job with Applebee's, and Applebee's is like, you know what? This is what we think you are. We'll let you go somewhere else. If you can go get more money, maybe we might match it. And you go to Olive Garden, and then Olive Garden gives you the amount of money that you want. And I don't even know if Applebee's and Olive Garden actually, like, you know, I was just thinking of two restaurants. And then you go to Olive Garden and you get the money, and then Applebee's is like, all right, we're good. And then you go to Olive Garden, and just like, that's happens in real world. Like, you switch jobs. So, like, for me, it was like, all right, this is what it is. Like, people will get it. People understand. But fanatics, like fans, like, no, it wasn't like that. It was like, you're a traitor. Saquon. I said, that one's hilarious. I've seen
Saquon?
Oh man, like,
That's
I'm talking
a
about,
good one.
Like, I'm able to like see stuff, and like I love life. Like, I can laugh at stuff.
You have to.
Yes, I can laugh at, and like there's like one meme, or not a meme, like someone had me in an Eagles jersey and 2'6", and I was like built as a snake. Like, it was hilarious.
Like,
so,
your head was the snake. It was like a viper.
Yes, I was like a snake, and it was like Saquon. People were like saying, I'm worse than KD. I was sitting there, I was like, wow. I was like, is that deep?
I think when mean Twitter goes so mean that it becomes funny, that's when I love it.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's still you, and you understand why you made the decisions you made.
Yeah.
What was some of the reaction you were getting when the word got out that you were a Philadelphia Eagle and you were leaving New York?
Yeah, I was getting a lot of love from Philly. A lot of love from Philly. A lot of hate. A lot of hate from New York. But it's only on Twitter. It's only on Twitter. Any Giant fan that I've ever met in person, it's always love. Like, they say literally the same thing. They say, thank you for the last 6 years. Like, you're awesome to watch. You gave your all. But I can't root for you for those 2 weeks. And I go, hey, I respect that. I do think, though, I let the reaction kind of mess up. Like, I had like a goodbye video to the Giants fans. Like, I don't think I handled that situation right at all.
Why?
I just kind of like, I forgot what I said, like, thank you, when I put like a blue heart. But like, reality was like, but some people get the scoop of where you're going to go, or the inkling of where you're going to go, and they post your stuff. And I wanted to be the one to announce that I'm the one going to Philadelphia. Like, I'm going to Philly. I want to announce it. So like, I just put like the Eagles emojis, like the two flying Eagles emojis. And I said like a quick thank you to the Giants fans. But I actually had like a legit response, like a goodbye. And I let the hate on Twitter like kind of take me away from that. And like, that was just like really immature of me. And like, that's the one thing of that whole process that I kind of regret, because like, Giants fans still, I mean, I know a lot of them hate me or whatever, but like, since I did that, I got drafted. I got a lot of love. I've seen a lot of people in my jersey. I try to spend as much time as I can with them, show respect, because they showed me a lot of respect. So I think I could have definitely said goodbye in a better way. Just being naive and immature, and not even thinking that it really mattered that much. But that was a lot of stuff I got with just like the way I did it, the way I went out.
I don't really think what you did was immature. I think that's being a human being who's reading and seeing words that hurt, right? That's okay to say.
Yeah.
That after a while, when they start building up and you see Saquon over and over, and maybe that one's just the funny one, but yeah, putting out a video would have been cool, because you could have showed the respect to the fans and give them the love back that you have felt.
Yeah.
But I think they understand it. I think they get it, especially if fans that get to meet you in person. They'll see that you've always been this way since the day you were drafted. That the New York Giants were your life. So now you have to do the same thing, to be with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they'll get that as well. But going back to when you were making this decision, most people don't understand what goes into making that call of where are you going to take your career. This is your life, your family's life. You've got 2 children. What are you doing next? What factors played into you choosing the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, love this, because now that part of my life, New York and the Giants, that chapter's closed. So then you have to look, all right, that chapter's closed. What are the best options for us? So where's the best chance for, like, I still have goals. I still have things that I want to achieve. Like, I felt like that, obviously in New York, I had some successful years, had a lot of injuries that, kind of held me back. But everything I want to accomplish is still out there. So what team can I go to that helps me? And then, okay, where can I go compete for a championship? That's a goal of mine. So I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to win Super Bowls. Okay, all right, home. All right, how far do we want to travel? Can we stay close to home? All right, let's think of our family. Me and Anna, we're both from Pennsylvania. My mom, I just moved closer to my family, and her family's from Pennsylvania. So all those things, and there was more that went into it. We literally made a list. Like, I was with my family and my friends. We did a list, and it was pros and cons of all the places. And it was a no-brainer, actually. It was actually no-brainer.
It just,
like,
the pros on the Philly side
it was
just
a no-brainer.
outweighed everything else.
It was a no-brainer. Like, only con on the Philly side was you might get hate. Like, seriously, like, that was really
that's
like,
the one con.
that was
right?
really like the, like,
It's real.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't realize I would get that much hate, but it's like, all right, all the hate and all the stuff on Twitter is like, is it really affecting my life? Like, no.
Who cares,
Like, you know what I mean?
right?
So it's like, that was like the only con. And then I also got to play against the team every year, 2 times a year, sometimes 3 times a year when we made the playoffs. So I know what they're about. I know what those guys are about. So it's like, all right, that chapter's closed. All right, where can I go and start off this new chapter and feel like it's going to be the best chance for me to go out there, succeed as a player, succeed in my career, and team. The most important thing, where can I go as a team and we can go, like, where I feel like I can actually help a team take it to that next level where they're trying to get to. And it was Philly. So I'm super happy about that decision. And then the second I walked in, like, the love I got from Philly fans.
Well, before that, though, so who's the first person that calls you from Philadelphia to say, welcome to the Philadelphia Eagles?
Howie.
Howie. So
Yeah.
Howie Roseman called you.
Howie. So
What'd he say?
after it was like we signed, and it was like, I forgot the time, like 4:00, he FaceTimed me, and it was my first time talking to Howie, and I was like, obviously I'm familiar with Howie, and like I know of Howie because going against him, but he's on the practice field and he got that big old smile on his face, and then that's like when I was like, all right, like, it's really here. And he told me, I'll come up here and do the signing, get it done. And then when I came into the building, you see the Eagles jersey, the Saquon Barkley jersey, and you're just like, dang, like, okay, like, it's a little weird, but like, all right. And then OTAs came, and it was like, it's like, how like you're a high schooler and you got to go to a new school or something like that,
Yeah.
and you're nervous about that new school. And like the second you go into that new school, it's just like everyone, welcome arms, nothing but love. And I fit right in, and I'm super excited about it.
It was obvious in Hard Knocks that ownership, John Mara, cherishes you, right? He wanted to keep you. Did you ever hear from him after you decided to become a Philadelphia Eagle?
Yeah. When I decided I was going to Philly, I texted Mr. Mayor, thanking him. I texted Tish, thanking him. Dave's called me. We talked on the phone for a little bit, and Joe. I talked to Joe.
Yeah. And so, who was the first Philadelphia Eagle to reach out to you? The actual like player.
Jalen, and then the second was KG Gainwell. He reached out to me on social media.
Yeah. So when you had your first day of school, we'll call it, like the first
Right.
day, right? So you meet everybody, you do your media press conference, but all that's not real, right? Because that's not really part of your job of the everyday of being a running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. The first time you were in a meeting, did you have any reflection of like this is different?
Yeah, because I was so used to New York. I was so used to like, all right, like I know how to get to the facility. I know if
Wait, did you get lost this time?
Nah, not lost.
Okay.
I'm saying like there's so many like.
Yeah, it's just so
first of all,
easy.
Philadelphia traffic's awful. It's
not
awful.
great.
Like it's awful. But I was so used to the facility, so used to doing the same thing. It was it was routine for me what I would do in New York. So like now I'm in a building and like I went in there for like I was only in there one time before when I signed the contract. But it's like, all right, you got to know where the team meeting is. All right, the running back room is not where the running back room was in New York. And then you go into the meeting, you sit in that team meeting, you look, and you're just like, damn, like there's some ballers on this team. Like you knew it going against them, and when you're when you're game planning against them, but like you're in that room and then you're just like, oh no, that's Jalen, that's Lane, that's AJ Brown. Like you're not. I'm a fan of the game, so seeing all those guys and it's like, all right, like this something could be special here, but we gotta make it happen.
Did you meet Big Dom?
Big Dom,
What's
he's the guy.
What is the story with Big Dom?
Like,
What'd you learn about him?
He's the guy. Like that's the only thing I just know. Like he's the guy. Like whatever you need, like he's the guy. Like he's gonna get it done. And he just like it's like Philly. Like it's so crazy when you see it from the opposite side. Like like I said, I was in New York and going against him. Like you just like got a different viewpoint of everybody. But then,
what did you think of them compared to like what the reality is? You saw them as what? Like what was Philadelphia when you were a New York Giant?
Crazy. But they're still crazy, but in a different way. Like it was more of like when you're on the Giant side, you're like, whoa, these motherfuckers are insane. Yeah. But like in this side, you're like, oh no, it's like they bleed this. Like this is Philly. Like this is like it's Eagles, Flyers, Philly. Like they bleed this. Like we lose on Sunday, like they having a bad week. Like if it impacts their week. Like Philly fans and even like Nick, like when Nick, I remember, playing him in the playoffs and like you see him across the sideline and like he's doing all this stuff like that and like we on that side you're just like, oh man, like I know I would never stand that guy. And then like I'm in meetings with him and he's the head coach and I'm sitting and talking to him and now me and him are like this, like we're locked in and it's like same thing with Jalen, same thing with all those guys. So it's like it's different from seeing it that side, but when you're here and it's like especially the fans, it's like wow, like it gives you like similar to that college vibe. And like me going to Penn State, a big school, and those games that I was able to play there, like being on the side, I remember playing a Link divisional playoffs and Uzi came out and the stadium was just rocking. Or even in the Christmas game, like they had like this light thing. I was like, damn, I was like, this joint is crazy. But like now it's like, you're like, I can't wait. Like I'm itching. I can't wait for camp. Like, I can't wait for the season. Like I can't wait to that first game. Obviously, our first game is in Brazil, which is gonna be pretty cool. Yeah. But the first time in the Link, like scoring a touchdown in there, like feeling that atmosphere, like knowing like how passionate this team is, like knowing they're all about you going out there, giving your best, winning, playing tough, playing hard, and like just buying into that culture. Like that's what I'm really looking forward to doing.
Have you thought about how you would feel, how you would celebrate if you scored a touchdown at MetLife?
No, I'd say like I'm not gonna sit here and like I know when we played them. Like I know it's week 7. Like I know when we were at MetLife. The competitor in me want to go there and go crazy, but what do I get? You know what I mean? Like if I go out there and play well, like and play really well, like what do I get? At the end of the day, like the most important thing is about winning and having the team win. I had that mindset before Chicago. We played my third year. We played the Steelers on Monday night or Sunday night, and I didn't have that great of a game. People were talking about me in the media, and like that next week, like I was practicing way harder than I always did, which I practice hard, but I had like this hate in my heart. Like I wanted to go out there and just show everybody like I am who I say I am, and like, I'm gonna show you motherfuckers. And like I didn't play that game, and I've told you so before. I didn't play that game like for the love of it, for my teammates. I went out there just for like me to show everyone like this is me. I tore my knee, and like I would never allow myself to ever
make it about you.
Dave's, Joe, Daniel Jones, all of them can come out that week and say the craziest stuff about me. As a competitor, like I'm gonna be passionate.
Never liked him.
Like I'm gonna be passionate about it, but like that game is strictly just another game to me. Yeah. But knowing the magnitude of it, it's not another game because it's the Giants. It's the Giants. I'm gonna treat it just like when we play Dallas. I'm gonna treat it just like we play Washington. I'm gonna go out there and try to ball out for the sake of the team.
Yeah, you're best friends with Daniel Jones. He's your guy. You guys had some moments of success there. Obviously, weren't able to go all the way. There are just so many hopes for what Jalen can do. So far, what's
What's been your takeaway from being around him, learning from him, talking to him all the time? What is he like?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people have this view of him, and I think they're wrong. He's a great leader. He works his ass off, and right there, and those two things to me are the most important thing.
What makes a good leader?
A good leader just it's not just vocal, right? Because everybody leads in different ways, but him is you're Jalen. It's the truth. There's guys in the locker room, in every team. You go in the locker room, you go to Kansas City, it's Patrick, it's Travis. You go to Philly, it's AJ, it's Jalen, it's me. God's gonna look to you and see okay, how does this person work? And when you look and you see the work matches the talent, it's just nothing but respect. So that's how I think leadership. And then he's great. He's probably one of the best vocal leaders I ever met in my life. He got all these sayings. He know how to talk. He could talk. I'm not saying he can't do that, but more of the way that he approaches his game, his mentality. When we in the huddle, even the OTAs, when you see that, or even one thing, he's a competitor. I know he could squat, and I could squat. Me and him, it's we're competing. We're going at it. We're it's not it's unspoken, but it's okay. What we doing today? All right. And then some days we push each other. There might be a day where we're hex bar deadlifting, and my knee might be a little sore, my back might be a little tight, and I might not want to go out there and push it to the limit. And I see Jalen out there grinding. He's pushing it. So I'm I'm not going to fall behind, and vice versa. We push each other. And when you have a guy like that, and if I'm able to come in and match that intensity, it's infectious throughout the whole team.
Have you had a chance to even just recognize the fact that you look around that offensive room? Do you see all these Pro Bowlers?
No.
You've never in your life, not at Penn State, not in New York, ever played with this much talent.
Yeah. I think that's a beauty. There's a beautiful thing of it, but it doesn't mean nothing if we don't do nothing about it. And that's the mentality that I have. It's Pro Bowlers and everybody. It's great. I think A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, can you name a better wide receiver duo in the NFL? I don't think it's close. I think Dallas is one of the best tight ends. We got one of the best offensive line. We got one of the best quarterbacks. I believe I'm one of the best running backs in the NFL. We have all the talent, but it doesn't matter. If it looks good on paper, it doesn't matter.
Do you watch a lot of Kellen Moore stuff from Dallas?
Dallas
study?
in San Diego, not San Diego, Los
LA.
Angeles. Yeah.
We both did it.
Yeah.
We're both old.
Right.
Just what do you expect from Kellen's offense? What do you think this is going to look like? What can fans just get ready to see? Because right now there's a little bit of a question mark of what the Philadelphia Eagles are going to look like.
I don't think we know either, to be completely honest. We had OTAs in 3 weeks of doing it. We got to build our identity now. And that's what happens when you get on Tuesday. We build our identity. When you come out, everybody, offenses is pretty much the same in the NFL. But it's everybody got their different identity. And whatever our identity is going to be, which no one knows, that's what we got to figure out in camp. What do we do that we're really good, whether it's in the run game, whether it's in the pass game? What do we struggle with? How can we attack defenses? And then when you get a more of a true understanding of respect of it when you start game planning against teams. Right now in the OTAs, you're not on that level. You're just really, like I said, building from the ground up, building a foundation and what our identity of offense is going to be. And same thing on the defensive side with Vic and the boys.
How annoyed are you that Jason Kelce retired?
I tried. I tried.
Yeah,
I tried. I think. I think that door is definitely closed. But there's beauty in it. Like I said, I'm never gonna be able to play with Jason Kelce, but Cam is a hell of a player, and he's young, he's athletic, he's smart, and it's his time, and it's gonna force other guys on the offensive line to step up too. It's gonna force all of us to step up because you're missing a lot with Jason from all the stories that I've heard from the outside looking in. Just toughness, leadership qualities, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge for all of us that I think Cam and all the guys on the offensive line are, more than ready. And I think as a team, I think there's a lot of hype around us this year, but I'm really happy where we are, and I'm really excited for starting on Tuesday and just, hopefully a beautiful story.
My podcast is called Scoop City. Come on, weigh in. Got any scoop for us?
Scoops? Do I have any scoop? I don't got no scoop.
No scoop?
I don't got no scoop.
I think more players have shared with me. They don't have scoop to give me, but they've got scoop on the wrong scoop about them.
Right.
Like false narratives about them,
yeah.
things that people have said about you that aren't true. I could probably do a whole show on the lies about who Saquon Barkley is compared to.
Trust me.
Have you had any interactions with Philadelphia fans since you live in Pennsylvania now, and you've obviously been going over to the NovaCare Center? Have you anything that stands out where you're like, wow, that was wild, or that's cool? Or...
Nothing really crazy with Philly fans yet. I just, I golf a lot. I'll get a Go Birds loud, like I'm on golf courses, and golf course is supposed to be quiet,
respectful.
But
and
they will wait though. I'll hit my golf shot, whether it's really good or really bad. They will wait, and then I'll hit after the golf shot, and it's like Go Birds, yeah, as loud as you can.
Well, I can tell you, I'm on a couple group chats with Eagles fans, and I've seen photos of you golfing. So
yeah, right.
It's creepy, but they love you. They're happy to have you. We are happy to have you on Scoop City. Thank you for inviting us into your home and hanging out with us, and we wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, back here on Scoop City, Chase. So you heard it all there.
Bombshell. I mean, first of all, just amazing get by you and just the whole team at The Athletic to just make this work. This came about last minute. I wasn't able to fly up there with you. But easily my biggest takeaway there's so many different layers, and we'll get into it, but he wanted to stay a Giant. I really thought that he wanted, based on the whole interview, that he wanted to become a Giant. But also, that interview humanized him a little bit, because he is this humongous National Football League, not just Giant star. He's one of, I don't care what you say, the faces of the NFL. And so this contract negotiation played out very, very publicly from the time he went back from his franchise tag to really a culmination of Hard Knocks, showing it all going down, and then your interview with him. And I thought that was so fascinating, because it also takes a lot of oomph for him to be able to sit down and tell you everything that he said. And I think the other takeaway before we get in, because I have some questions for you, was just how much NFL players hate the franchise tag. That was the beginning of the end. He said it. He knew it was over. And the fact that he was just saying rejuvenated his career too, because he knows what he's worth. But the franchise tag thing, people don't understand it. They never will. He said in the interview that's when I knew the Giants had all the leverage. So in my mind, even though he thought it was over on that phone call with Joe Shane, I thought when I heard that 2 years ago with the franchise tag stuff that went down and he had to sit down with his family, that's how I knew it was over. What was your biggest takeaway being there with it?
It was pretty clear that general manager Joe Shane wanted something completely different than what Saquon Barkley wanted from the beginning. And Saquon touched on it, that Joe Shane does not value the running back position for this New York Giants team. And that's his choice. He's in this position to make those calls.
Yeah.
But also Brian Daboll, right? If Brian Daboll really wanted to keep Saquon Barkley, he's going into Joe's office and saying,
how about Mara, the owner?
I need him. The owner made it clear he wants him. These guys are taking, and I say these guys because I think of Brian Daboll and Joe Shane as a tandem. They are the ones that made the decision together that they can figure out a way to have a productive offense without their best offensive player for the last few seasons. So they made that call, and we'll see what that looks like. And from the conversations I've had with New York, they're very comfortable with moving on. They don't have any regrets about the situation, and they obviously think the world of Saquon as a person. Because I will say the other takeaway was just the way Saquon carries himself in general.
Yes.
It's obviously very emotional. It is. He's heartbroken that he's not a New York Giant. It's very clear. He was making it very clear to me, though, the rest of the world is seeing a part of his life that happened so long ago in his mind that he's moved on from it.
And he's moved on.
So we were just really kind of digging a little deep and kind of pulling up feelings that he had. But in his mind, he's kind of moved forward on it and has come to grips with it. And just that feeling of being wanted can be so impactful on a person, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah.
And you can see that when he's talking about the Eagles and being wanted and being the guy there. And he made a great point. Look, the teams that are interested in him, like Houston, we'll say Chicago, he used the example of San Francisco. They weren't one of the teams from what I know, but teams that view Saquon Barkley as being the missing piece that are trying to go all the way. So I think that stood out to me, that he understood Philly's right there. Philly is running back away.
And he said Philly's only, New York's only one team, and there's 31 other teams that want him. He said there were 3 in. Philly, obviously. Who? Do you know the other 2? Did he say
Houston and Chicago for sure.
And how close was he based on like your takeaway? I know what he said, but on your takeaway, how close was he to choosing? Like, because I know Chicago was for sure in the running.
You have to remember, Saquon has never left the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area ever in his life, right? He's just been in this one place.
Yep.
And I think, and he touched on it, that his family's all here, and that there's comfort in that, and they want to be here. So while I don't think Houston, for example, was ever completely off the table, because it's playing with CJ Stroud and a team that's built to win it this year, I think for what he wants, joining the Eagles just made the most sense. The other part I really appreciated was when he talked about the impact of social media on him.
Yeah.
To hear someone talk about how he made a decision not to post a video, being grateful and respectful to the fans that loved him all those years, because he saw a bunch of random haters on Twitter tweeted him, that he didn't put that video out, and was able to then reflect that he regrets that he hates that he allowed it. And I appreciated the human side to it, because I think everyone is faced with that in some way, whether you're choosing to put yourself out there or you're even just posting pictures of your kids on Instagram and somebody makes a comment about something, of making sure you don't put value to it, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, and you've seen me personally, even, and you've been covering the league for a while, but I remember when we didn't have Twitter and we didn't have Instagram and we didn't have all that stuff, and you could feel to be free and just do whatever you wanted. But it was a little bit like eye-opening that he felt like, based on backlash that he would get, or haters, or guys in mom's basements that are on chat, it's sad to see, because social media can really affect your health. And people probably think that these big time names and these big time players in the NFL, it doesn't have an effect on them, but in reality it does. And
he said it. I mean, he literally chose not to do something tough because of a bunch of people giving him a nickname. He doesn't even know these people. Just think about that concept. I remember Jimmy Garoppolo was warming up before the NFC Championship game, and he was super calm, and he didn't even look uptight about it at all. They wound up losing, but either way, I went up to him while he was warming up, and that week he was all over social about how people were calling him like the worst quarterback ever. Like, just people are so mean. And I said, how do you manage that when you're preparing for a week? Which I probably should not have asked him that during warm-ups, but I did. I don't know what I was thinking. But he said, why would I ever allow anyone I don't know dictate who I am? That doesn't matter. Those people don't matter. And it was a simple thought, but he's so right. Yet it's still so hard to push out. And I do think it's a skill, and you're better off probably just blocking and not reading, but it's hard not to.
It's hard.
Now, here's what I did like. How about when he was talking about when he was a Giant and he saw Sirianni on the sideline during the playoffs? He's just like making fun of him. Was like, nah, look at this guy, right? Just like the way so many people that hate the Eagles feel about Sirianni. He's like, he's kind of easy to hate, yet if he's your team's coach, you love the guy. So you completely understand it. And Saquon is now on that side. And I appreciated his transparency about it taking a little time. He's still getting used to being a Philadelphia Eagle. You know what I was thinking about too on my drive home, of just, I point out the fact that he went to Penn State. He understands the rivalry between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, but how underprepared he was in terms of the kickback of him switching teams. Like he's a
star. I get it.
You're not some fan when you're a player, but he didn't. Like, it's like what I said in the interview. Like, he didn't go play with the Chargers. Like, he played with the team the Giants hate.
You know? It's like the New York market, and that's another thing. Is like, last thing I wanted to say about the interview was that I understand he felt disrespected and hurt and all these things, and those are normal emotions to feel in a negotiation for your job. But he's out in the national spotlight. You're not going to Joe Blow's accounting warehouse and he's trying to get a promotion, and he's negotiating this promotion in private. You don't get that. So it just became like almost over the top, because Hard Knocks felt like at least when I was watching Hard Knocks, it felt like they were talking every day. They talked twice.
That was interesting.
And that's pretty normal though. And that's what I want to get to is like, yeah, he felt disrespected, but for NFL teams, it's just a cog. You're just a piece on the chessboard, and this train keeps rolling. Sean Payton told us this every single year when we were in team meetings with him when I played for the Saints for 5 years under him. You are a piece on this train. At some point, someone is going to ask you or kick you off of the train, and that train is going to keep moving. That's just what it came back to. It's very normal for a program to operate like this. Like, to me, this wasn't out of the norm for what happens. But because it was Saquon, National Football League, like face, because it was played out in Hard Knocks, because of the franchise, it made it seem a lot bigger, and it was a big deal to him. But this is par for the course for NFL teams.
Yeah. Well, look, he's in a situation where he's making a lot more money. He's got an offensive line that can protect him. He's got weapons to the right and left of him.
He's going to kill it.
And obviously a really good quarterback and head coach there. So it's funny. You know, my husband is like a diehard Eagles fan. So when I told him I was going to Saquon's house, of course, you know, you get like 5,000 questions just so he can text his friends about it. But I'm like, say nothing. No one needs to know anything about this. So when I was there, I was just like talking about my family with Saquon, and I was like, let me just call Kev and, you know, I'll FaceTime him. One of the biggest issues in our marriage is he never has his phone with him or on. And he missed the call. So you know what? You don't keep your phone on. You get a missed the call from Saquon. So there you
That's
go.
so funny.
Speaking of the weekend, because he was busy while I went to do the interview, someone had to watch my boys. Kevin took over the parenting, right? So he was doing that whole thing.
Let's go.
I know you were at a birthday party and discovered that Bluey is a girl. I can't believe you didn't know that.
I mean, I had no idea, because first of all, we don't let our kids watch a lot of TV. Like, we're not tablet parents, and no shame if you are. Like, it's just we find our kids to be better. Like on the plane, they get them.
Yes.
But like if we're at home, we try to get them outside, like that, like
I
all
think
that stuff.
most
Eventually,
parents
like,
want that situation, right? Every
Yeah.
parent wants their child to be active in coloring and doing puzzles and
Yeah.
learning, but
in
sometimes
reality,
life, right?
it's life. And we have 3 kids under 6, at 6 or below. And so I took my 4-year-old daughter, Parker, who literally is huge and looks like a 6-year-old, and just is like, she's like 99th percentile in height. It's crazy. I mean, like, I'm like, you didn't get it from me. I'm barely 6 foot. But we went to this birthday party, and she'd been really missing her friends at school. This was her first year in school, and she was really missing them. So her classmate, Ava, had a party, and we went, and I sort of knew it was Bluey, but I wasn't sure. And I go up, I'm like, oh, we're at a park right by my house, and it's an awesome party, just a wonderful, wonderful party. They had a snow cone stand. And Bluey's, it's like 85 and like pretty warm for San Diego. So San Diegans are freaking out. Bluey's in an all like velvet felt costume, huge. I'm like, that dude's gotta be sweating. So some of the parents, like, it's really all, let's be real, it's all moms and it's me. Because Hillary's like, I think you need to take it. Like, she needs some time with you. So it's all moms and me, and we were talking about Bluey, and it just came up, and someone just like, so nonchalant said, hey, Bluey's a girl. I said, what? And they're like, oh yeah, Bluey's a girl. You didn't know that? I'm like, no. And so I tweeted it out, and you'd be surprised how many people didn't know Bluey is a girl. I love Bluey the show. It all makes sense now, but like, you set
the record straight for those parents out there that didn't know Bluey. It's so interesting on what you know as a parent, what you don't know, and how you can figure it out, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of things that I will be shocked by. Kevin's weekend with the kids went well. So everyone's safe. It sounds like your birthday party went well.
Success.
So it was a successful weekend. It was a successful episode 3. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Scoop City. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. A lot of people don't realize this. You can watch this show, so you can just throw it on the tablet or on the television, and you can check us out while you're getting the house ready, cleaning up, maybe making some dinner. Make sure you subscribe, rate, leave a little review. Some really nice people have been checking us out,
We're
so
a
we
good hang.
appreciate that. Yes, subscribe to anywhere you get your podcast. We will see you guys on Friday.
Bye, guys. Tag me next time.
Thanks for tuning into Scoop City. If you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. We drop our new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.